All right, everybody, what is going on? Cara, you doing well?
I'm doing amazing.
Well, hello. Awesome, guys. Well, listen, hey, welcome, everybody. This is our Thursday social media marketing for real estate agents with myself, Cara McMaster here from McMaster Digital. We do this every Thursday. Just a little bit about me. My name is Shane Hillier. I'm part of the Double Your Income coaching team. And we are here now. This is a brand new call. We're here every Thursday. I believe this is our sixth call. I've been doing these for a few weeks now. And the whole goal here is to help as many real estate agents as possible with their social media marketing, branding, and all things social media. So we are really excited. So for those of you that are new to the call, we have been going through a series. This is more of like an 8-week series. So we've done a lot over the past 6 weeks. We've gone through your profiles, how to optimize your profiles, how to generate some free leads from your profiles. We did that in the first couple of weeks. Now we're talking about creating content. And I believe, well, Kari, you're going to give a little bit of a, you'll let us know what we're going to be talking about today. So, yeah, we're here every Thursday and we're excited about it. I hope you guys are excited to see a bunch of familiar faces, the same people coming back over and over again. And it's obviously getting a lot of great value out of this call. And we're seeing a lot of new people jumping on this. So for all of you new people, welcome. We also do Tuesday calls as well. That's with Brad Van De Walle. And on those calls, we have coaches that come on those calls and they teach about just different strategies that have worked for them in their business. And next Tuesday, guess who's the coach? Woo! That's me. So we're going to go through some paid Facebook ads, how we do it and what's worked for us, what hasn't worked. So make sure to tune in next Tuesday for that call. And with that, Cara, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming back. Why don't you let us know a little bit about what we will be talking about today?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. All right. Today, I'm going to change it up a little bit in terms of the foundation of what we're building. And I'm just making an executive decision here, Shane. So I hope that's okay. I originally wanted to be able to come in.
I don't know. You were supposed to send me an email. You know that, right?
On what? Oh,
on the decisions. I'm kidding.
Go. I'm on it. Today, I am going to show you how we're going to plan out some of our video content. And eventually, after the next 2-3 weeks, we will be able to have this whole process down from the time that we've planned, shot, and then scheduled it. I wanted to plan a little bit of time for us next week to show you the exact tools that we use that'll allow you to easily schedule the content. I have I've tried to make this process as simple as possible because this is, I think, where a lot of people get stuck, right? We start coming up with ideas. We're like, okay, now I'm figuring out where I want to reach to my people. I have an understanding of what I want to say. But when it actually comes to like getting it done and getting it scheduled, it can sometimes feel like a mountain to climb. So we're going to look at some pretty simple methods today that's actually going to just involve some pen and paper, but as well as the content roadmap that we have used. So be prepared for some homework today because I want you guys coming in prepared with the videos that you're going to be making for next week. So we're going to go through that. And then, of course, we're going to do some examples live right on the call. So as I was saying, if those who just joined, yesterday was a prime example of this. So Christian Wertuzo, who's spoken on these calls, we did this process for him exactly, where we come up with, who are we trying to reach? Who is it that the message that we want to get out there? What are the attributes of these people? And then from there, understanding what are they asking the questions on? And then what are the hooks? What are the ways in which we're going to open up this video? And then planning out a day in the morning, in the afternoon, late, early evening. This is what we're going to be covering. This is the hooks that I need to see. This is a shot list. These are the things that are important to me to have, but we're just going to keep it really nice and simple. So we're going to plan this out today, go through what are the videos that we're going to come up with, what are the hooks, what's the meat and potatoes, and then make sure that we've got the gear that we need. And then next week, you guys are actually going to shoot this content. Before I break into that, do we have any questions or anything that somebody has from previous weeks that we want to make sure that we get answered today?
And let me just add to that too. Can you, for the people that are new to this call, this is your first time to this call, just let us know in the comments here. So as I mentioned, this has been a bit of a series where we've kind of gone through the weeks here and kind of built up to what we're doing today. if you're feeling kind of lost, I don't think you need to worry too much about it, especially for this one, because I think this is all fairly new now. But if you do want to go check out some of the previous calls, which in my opinion were really, really good, and every agent should implement what we've talked about over the past 4 or 5 weeks. You can find the recordings inside of the Real Estate Marketing and Conversion Mastery Facebook group. If you need the link to that group, or if you're not part of that group, just let me know. You can also, if you're part of the Double Your Income coaching team, you can find the recordings inside of our private mastermind group, and you'll find those under the guides area where we store everything. All right, so we do need link. Okay. Anybody else new to this call today? I do see some new faces, so if you're new, let us know. Yes. Is it Caitlin? Yeah, great. All right.
Love that.
Never lost or alone with this tribe. I feel lost very often. All right, Kara.
Okay, so Rakesh has looks like he's got a question from last week. Right. Rakesh, what's going on? How can I help?
Hey, Kara. Sorry,
Hi.
Can I share my screen? Then it will be a lot easier than having to go through that.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so remember we left off last week and we went through all of this. So I made the changes that you suggested. Mm-hmm. And when I come to this area here now, mm-hmm. you see how in your examples, you've got one item per row, mm-hmm. right? Now, mm-hmm. the way I typed it in, I had everything just numbered 1 to 3 in each cell. So it's lumped mm-hmm. everything to one cell here as well.
Yeah.
Is there an easy way to split this up rather than having to redo it all?
Don't redo it all. Just label them just like you've done here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then see how my service is. That's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 so in the next cell.
But is that going to affect what happens down this way, or is it?
No, you should be all right, because I'm going to actually show you guys today how you're going to use section 5.
Okay. All right. So that was it.
You're all set. You're all good. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Good question. We had a question here in the chat about Facebook personal versus Facebook pages. So, all right. So with Facebook, your Facebook personal for realtors really tends to be the profile that you're going to get the most amount of attention from, because it's where we can get a lot of organic attention that we don't have to pay for. Facebook business pages, they still have their place. You should do some posting there where it's the Facebook page isn't going to die, but realistically, what we see right now is that if you are not boosting, paying money to get those posts seen, it's really hard for Facebook to push that out. In short, I do like my realtors using their personal profile to advertise the odd thing, but your personal should still be focused on a lot of this personal stuff. The videos that we're making, what I'm saying here is be careful with like MLS and listings and recently sold going on your personal, because people do want to see that side of you. But do both. Just don't obsess over your Facebook business page, because not a lot of attention is coming from there. Spreadsheet Rakesh shared provided in the group. So yeah, so Cindy, that is if you go to the week 3, we did the content week 3 or week 4, we did the content roadmap where I teach you how to complete it, how to fill it out. And then there is a link that you can copy and have for your own version. So you'll want to go back. Today is still going to be crazy, super relevant. The only thing that for those who are just joining us on the call today aren't going to have done is a content roadmap, and that's okay. You're still going to be able to learn, like, how do we actually go through this process, which is probably the easiest, simplest part of this whole process. Raymond, the only reason to have a business page is really for ads. So for ads, and if people ever do come and search you, you don't want to have a business that looks like it's dead, right? You don't want to have the last post being from like 2017, because then it thinks that like this isn't your page and you're not actually doing anything. So just keep it active. But you are correct. In order to run ads, it has to run from a business page, can't run from your personal.
And they're really good for SEO too. So when people search, like, I don't know if you've ever noticed, go look for a real estate agent. Typically the first 4 or 5 links are your Facebook business page, especially if it's active and you've got reviews on there and things like that. So still really good for SEO. So make sure to keep that up to date. Links, phone numbers, everything. You want to make sure you have all that stuff on your business page.
All right, let's get into the goods. Okay, so last week we talked about a content roadmap, and again, for those who weren't here, it's where we've just come up with like, who are our people? Are they retirees? Are they young families? Are they, people moving in from out of state? Because they all have their own individual needs, and that's what your content should be based on. Not on you, not on just what the market is doing. What are the biggest challenges, deepest desires, things that these people are trying to figure out? Because from there, if you properly fill out this content roadmap, you are going to spend some time. It's not an easy exercise. I promise you. It still sucks for me sometimes to this day, but once you get through it, it'll be a bank of content for many, many months to come. So today, the process that I want to teach you and really drill into everybody's head. And when I say drill, I say if there's one thing that you take away from the next 8 weeks that we spend together, it's the idea of that you have to batch your content. If you do not batch your content, I can almost guarantee that you, the real estate agent, will not be successful. Because the last thing that you should be doing is worrying about this all the time, but you need to be doing your job, not being a marketer. And there are smarter ways to do this and not feel like you're having to just spend all your time on social media. So batching your content means that we're going to do it all in one swoop day. It doesn't mean that it's a short day or that it's an easy day. It's a hell of a day. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to downplay this. The more you do it, the more you'll get better. All I'm asking you to commit to this process is 12 short 60-minute videos. Down the road, you can look at doing more. You can look at doing YouTube. So you can look at doing something like we did with Christian. With Christian yesterday, I swear to God, we got at least 50 TikToks done yesterday. There was a lot of content that we can do in a day, but that's because he's been doing it a while. So we just have to get everybody there, but we're going to start off with 12, but it is the number one way in which you have an opportunity to stay consistent. Because if you know that there's this one day of the month and each and every month, you plan out the content, you shoot the content, edit up the content in the TikTok app, which I'm going to show you how to do really easily next week. And then how do we export it and distribute it across the other platforms? You can get this done in a day. It's just a big day. So just be prepared for that. But then your content is completely done for the next 30 days. And all you need to do with your social media now is watch the comments and DMs roll in and spend your time engaging with your audience. So here's some of the things that you will need to be successful to batch out your content for a day. So number one is a completed content roadmap. Okay. That's the roadmap that I keep mentioning. A completed video run sheet. So I'm going to go through with you. It's super simple. This is where the pen and paper comes out. You want a location to shoot indoors. So where I'm standing and talking to you guys right now is a location. I've got my lighting set down. I've got my setup here. Done is better than perfect. That's where I consider one. And then some other locations to shoot outdoors. You do want to be mindful of weather. You do want to be mindful of outdoor sound, but I really like it when you can pick locations that are quite notable, the word I'm looking for today, of your city. Some of it that you can actually use too for some B-roll, which we're going to talk about next week. But you want to have a few different outfits because you are planning this out for about a month. So the more different, a couple of different shirt changes, maybe in some of the videos, you can have a different set of sunglasses or a different hat. You want to make it look a little bit different, that you didn't actually do this all in one day. And then week one, I told you guys the gimbal, tripod, and light ring that you should be ordering, and the mics as well. So if you haven't had a chance to get that, now is your chance, because this week we're going to plan everything out. And then next week, we're going to start talking a little bit more about how you're going to actually look up good on that video and how we're going to edit it. Okay, so with the content roadmap, we filled everything out with what resonated with our audience most. So you've done this on a separate day. Don't try to do the content roadmap on the day that you want to plan out all your content. You've already sat down, you've already done this. And if you haven't done it yet, do it in the morning. It's a very creative process. You want to have a nice, fresh mind when you go through this process. But we're now assuming that this has all been completed. When you're ready to sit down for your day, you want to read it from start to finish. Start all the way at step 1 and work all the way down through step 5, reading each of yourselves, reading each of the different topics and things, so that if new ideas or new things that come to you, that's where you can add it back to the roadmap. But you want to get a really good sense of what is resonating with me most and what do I want to create the content on. I would say at this stage in the game, since we are getting things done rather than figuring out exactly, what's working and what the audience wants, which comes down the road. Right now, I want you to go back to that content roadmap and pick out topics that's really, really easy for you to talk about, that you wouldn't need to go and look things up, that you wouldn't need to question anybody or ask anybody, because in the ways in which you're going to get these videos executed and looking nice and looking natural and feeling natural on video is on a subject that you're already very comfortable talking about. So you're going to cherry pick the content this time. Cherry pick the contents that are the easiest for you to do. So let's go to.
Hey, Cara,
Yeah.
sorry, Cara.
Don't be sorry.
Rakesh is asking if you can blow up your screen a bit. Like, can you present?
The only problem when I present, I can't pull up all my other forms. So here, let's do this, Rakesh. Well, each week I just share with you guys the slides. And then you've got it right there. You've got your copy. So let me grab you guys a copy for today.
That widescreen.
I know it's convenient for me, not convenient for you guys. I apologize.
And just to confirm, Rakesh was wondering, and this is what I heard too, but you did not say 12 short 60-minute videos, right? You said 6? 60
second. So I could have said 60 minute. I could have said 60 minute, but I meant 60 seconds. So thank you for calling me out on that. Yeah. Like, this lady is crazy. I got to go. No, guys, you're in good hands. I can promise you. Okay, so the content roadmap. Let me grab the example we were working off of last week, and we can look at step 5 and how you're going to do this. Any questions so far? All right. I will throw in a copy of the sheet here for you if anybody wants to grab it now and doesn't want to have to go digging around in the group. But again, go and search the hashtag. What's the hashtag, Shane? DYIC?
DYIC Thursday coaching call. Thursday. All one word. Okay. But you can go through the media, right? Like, we don't have that much content in there. So you just go through the media and look at the videos. Everything's there. Yeah. All
right. Perfect. Well, let's drop a copy for those who might not have it and want to actually read it a little bit clearer because of my double screen. But this is the content roadmap. This is what we use inside of our own agency when we're trying to figure out what the heck are we going to create content for on a client. And it really does get in the head of your avatar. Okay. All right. So you should have both that. Right, if we go scroll down to step 5, right, and then remember, the only things that we touch are the cells that are in green because it auto populates everything else for us. There we go. So you've come up with the titles, or the talking points are all coming in here, right? Whether it depends on how far in the content roadmap process you have gotten. Ideally, you've gotten this coming in where you're like, okay, I do want to talk about first-time home buyers assistance programs. So you've come in here and you check it off. And so when you check it off, it will light open because these are the answers that I've given it before. This is what I've pre-typed in here. So if this is your first time writing in, what do we want to say about this? What's the key audience takeaway? And what's a sample headline or title for this content piece? That's where you're going to fill this in once you check it off. So you're only going to check off include in the content plan if you've cherry picked this as a subject that I want to make sure that I'm going to talk about. So in here, we come in and we've written, like, again, what do you want to say about this? Is there a key talking point that you want to include? Is there any resources that we want to mention? Are there any tools? Are there any calculators? Or is there maybe a screen share version of this? If there's something particular about that video, this is where you want to put that in. And then the key audience takeaway, like, what do you want them to learn from this? Is this an educational piece where you're teaching them about what the assistance program is? Do you want to send them back to your profile to click on a link because the guide that you built for the first time is a first-time home buyer's guide? That's something that helps them solve that. That's the key audience takeaway. Think of it also like what is the different call to action that I want to use? And then here's the headline, AKA hooks. And I'm going to talk about hooks in about 2 seconds. I've got all kinds of examples for you today, but this is pretty important, right? Your hook, what you're going to open that video with, is the most important part of the entire video. If you are not opening up your videos with a hook, I will guarantee you they are not going to do well. It's just how the platforms work now, and it's how you get people to give you their time. So let's just talk about a little bit about a hook, because we're going to do some examples here. But a hook is it's something that grabs attention, and it does it within the first 3 seconds, because that's the way that the algorithm decides, are you a good content creator? Are you actually putting out something that people want to watch, that they want to enjoy? because if you can't get them past the first 3 seconds, they just won't show it to any other new people. So especially like if you ever watch reels on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, you can watch it, like if it's growing and the views are going up and up and up, it means that lots of people are engaging with it, they're commenting on it. But if they're showing to it when it first launches to a few people and nobody takes any action with that, that's why those videos die and they don't get very much views. You want the audience to watch all the way through. So sometimes by promising something at the end, sometimes by opening up with a shocking statement, sometimes a question. Sometimes I really like what's called like a listicle, like top 5 things or these things that you didn't know. So pay attention. This is again going back to the very beginning of when we started doing this together, was giving you guys the grace to be like, go spend time on TikTok. I want you to pay attention to when you are watching a video. Why did you continue to watch? How did they open up that video? And it's not something that just like comes all the way all the time. I'll be with clients, I'll give them the hook to open it and they'll say it with something else. So again, just give yourself a little bit of grace that it is going to take some practice, getting used to getting like a really good, strong hook out right from the beginning. But if you go smoothly through this practice, it'll help you for eons to come when you're creating content. Here's some examples of hooks that have to do specifically with attracting sellers. So if this is a little bit broader than, some of the niche stuff that we've done with the avatar, what they're specifically into, but I just wanted to keep it a little bit broader and just give you some ideas. But here's why summer 2022 is the time to sell. And then we get into the video and then we get into the content. The top 3 renos that actually increase home property. Thinking of selling your home, don't make this mistake. Calling all homeowners who want to sell but are worried that they will of where they will live. And then the one thing that will tell you if it's a right time to sell. So just some examples here of how we can take this topic, right? First time, the first time buying a home, like it's a little bit of a weak, I would say a weak hook. I wouldn't lead with something like that. You want to lead with, I really like the curiosity, FOMO, fear of missing out, shocking statements. There's some really, really great tools. So last week I gave you guys a website. It's called Title Generator. Did anybody throw me a 1 in the comment if anybody went to this website to check it out? Shane, nice. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna throw this link back over here. Beverly, nice. Did you get Beverly? Did you get any good hooks that came out of that? I'm gonna just assume yes. Go to this website, save it. Terry, thank you. That's awesome. Save this in your browser. Because this is going to make your life so much easier. And it actually gave me one of the hooks that we used for this past week. I'm not going to give it away because I think it's pretty genius. I think it's going to blow up for Christian, but I didn't think of it. I just went in and I typed in this one word and it gave me one of those hooks. And I was like, that's actually really good. So let's give an example here. So someone in the chat, give me a subject. So think entrepreneurship, first time home buyer, finance, community events. Somebody give me an idea here and let's see what the titles we get. Fourth of July. Build to rent. Okay, we can check that one after there, right? Give me one. Let me see what comes on here. All right, applying these 10 secret techniques to improve the 4th of July. The time is running out. Think about these 10 ways to change your 4th of July. The A to Z of 4th of July, the top 90 funniest 4th of July quotes. So you can see where this is going, right? So it breaks it down by lists, or AKA what I like to call listicles, best of, how-tos, questions you can ask with that term, something maybe to do with love. I mean, sex, if that's the way you're going with your account, celebrities, secrets, being snarky, attributing it to business, motivation, problems, like 4th of July, what a mistake. So this is a really, really cool tool that you guys should be using. So you want to take your subject title. If you can't come up with something on your own, this is a great, great tool that I want you to use as part of this process. Does anybody have any questions on what is a hook? How do you create hooks? Or how do you come up with ideas for hooks? All right, perfect. I'm going to take that as I am a great, amazing coach. So great that no one has any questions because I know exactly. Perfect. I'm funny too. Thanks, guys. All right. Content roadmap. So go back to your content roadmap. Fill in your topics over the topics here, and then your headlines here was where you want to put in the hooks, and just place them right in here and write them down. Remember, only keep the ones checked of the actual content that you plan to create. And what you should have by the end are 12 hooks, 12 headlines, 12 hooks, because those are going to be the standalone for your 60-second or less videos that we're going to be creating next week. And uses lip balm. Yes, thanks, Ray. Thanks for noticing. All right. Let's create some 12-minute hooks, 12-minute, 1-minute videos run sheet. So you can do a pen and paper. I like using my iPad because that's what I do, but pen and paper, use your iPad. You could come in and you could use an Excel spreadsheet and have one column for what the hook is, and then one column to write down some of these other points of information. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to come up with now you know your hook. You're going to write the hook down on the piece of paper. And then we're going to go through like, what are some of the main points, right? So this is only a 1-minute long video. So you want to just jot down a framework, a point. You don't need to script this out. We don't want to script this out, because the more that you can have it be as though you're having a conversation with a really good client who just happens, like a friend who happens to be a client, you're having a conversation with them. A really great person who does this is Glenda Baker. You should check her out. I'm sure some of you have seen her stuff on Instagram and TikTok. She's pretty big on social media. She's really good at this. She's probably one of the best, I'd say, like on social media, not even being a realtor, when it comes to being really natural in front of the camera and just make it like she's just having a conversation with like one of her employees is what it looks like. Then you want to come up with once you have figured that out, where are you going to shoot this? Is this going to be indoors? You're going to shoot this outdoors? If it is indoors, where are you going to shoot it? Are you going to shoot it something like where you can see me now, where I have a ring light and it's very manufactured and there's nothing behind me and the only attention that's going to be on that video is going to be on my face? Or do I want to shoot this in the kitchen, or am I at my office desk? Figure out where you want that to go so that you can jot that down and have an idea. And then figure out, like, do you need props? In my TikToks, especially, I use a lot of coffee mugs, water bottles, hats, sunglasses, jackets, like random things. Cause sometimes I'm playing like 2 different characters, or I'm doing multiple different shots. So figure out like what little props you need. Some of the things that we've covered in past weeks, and it's actually some of the conversations that I was having with clients this week when we were out there shooting with them, is the idea of a character within your videos. So again, I keep using Christian because it's just fresh in my mind, and we just literally shot with him yesterday, but he had like this beautiful Louis Vuitton bag that he just carries with him everywhere when he goes out and does all of his business. And it's something that his clients are really into. His clients are into the luxurious, name brands. And so that Louis Vuitton bag has actually become a character in his videos and is somewhat featured. So think of little things of characters that you can be in your videos, and what comes natural to you and helps bring a little bit of life to that video. So let's have some fun. Let's create a couple of videos. Let's come up with the hook. Let's come up with what the meat and potatoes of that video is going to be. If we're going to have a call to action, if there's going to be one, if there's going to be props, how we're going to do this inside, outside, all that good stuff. Sound good? Everybody down with that? Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, sweet. There we go. Marcelino, Ray, thank you for your participation. All right, let's hear some ideas. I don't want to pick something that I've already got. Let's hear some ideas, and we're definitely going to have some participation. We're going to use our brains today. So selling in a shifting market. Okay, so Caitlin, who are you selling to in a shifting market? Are we trying to reach a seller who's trying to figure this out? And tell me a little bit more about your seller. Are they retiring because they're downsizing? Do they need a bigger house? They're a small family. Are they moving from, one state or one province to another? Tell me a little bit more about this person. Okay, upgrading within the city. So young family, let's say. Millennials. Okay, perfect. So the millennials who are upgrading, it's likely they're going to be their first time that they have sold a house. What would be some of the biggest questions and objections or concerns that they might have with that process? Anybody can chime in here. There we go. Okay, so how to find another home with lower inventory levels. So they have some concerns about what can they actually buy, like what can they afford to purchase, where are they going to live if they sell their home. That's on like that's a big subject that we're making for a lot of content these days, even still with even though yes, this market is still shifting, that's still continuing to be a big answer that we are trying to get for our clients. Is that message out is if I sell my house, where am I moving to? All right, so let's just duplicate this slide here and we'll just build one right on live. So it's literally really, really simple. So at the top of the page, you write the video title. And then we come in and then we write down the hook. So let's go back to comments here. Concerns about overpaying if market starts down. All right. So if we even use some of these, like calling, you could do calling all first-time homeowners who want to sell but are unsure where they will live. Like that could definitely work for there. We'll just come up with a few hooks. Yeah, a lot of these could work. They're a little bit broad. What I would want you to do here is I would want you to really think back to some of the biggest objections that some of these millennials on the listing appointments that you've attended to. What are they actually saying to you? What are some of the biggest questions? I like to have a little notebook set up in my phone where you can really have that all in there. But for this exercise, go back and think, what were some of the biggest objections that somebody gave you as to why they didn't move forward, or some of the biggest questions? How do I find the right community for my young family? Okay, I like that. I like that. Growing families in X. So that's like city need to live here. Right. So that could actually be a really cool video. You know, that could be where you are in your office, where you open up the video. It's like growing families in Collingwood, they need to live here. And then the next shot of you could be in front of like maybe that little community has its own little community sign. Maybe there's a notable park in there or a cafe that you could then finish the rest of that video just talking about why they need to move there. What are some of the attributes? And then where do you come in to be able to help with that? Do you have a guide that has to do with something about that that particular subdivision or suburb that you're referring to? Do you have a Facebook group that focuses on the community's events? Like, what are some other things that you could help provide for that person who'd be watching that video, because it's going to hit home for them? So those are some of the tools and resources and things that I want to come up with when I start thinking about this idea. So here I start writing down, shoot first shot in office with opening hook. And then second shot in front of the, so I'm just going to use like the Blue Mountain sign, right? Because I have got the Blue Mountain Resort in Collingwood, and that would be a pretty notable place for me if I were to go through this exercise. And then you could think of, you know, do I want to be, you know, just sometimes I open it up because like when you'll see they do on this on TikTok a lot, like they'll be fixing their hair or like putting makeup on, or they'll be signing something, and so it's like looking like a very natural conversation. So it's like, you know, growing families in Collingwood, they need to live here. So if that's something that you want to have, so I could be like, okay, coffee mug. And then what are the attributes that you want to mention about the actual meat and potatoes of that video? So you could come in here. Oh. Just just make this a bit smaller. So I could talk about like all of the family events that happen in Blue Mountain. Like if there's something coming up for like summer events, like I know they're doing Encanto in the park next week for the kids. Like that could be something a little that you could mention. That would actually probably get you quite a few shares. Proximity to shopping and entertainment. You know, I know like walking score is a big one that we talk about. You could talk about the different like moms groups that they might have there. Maybe there's like the, you know, great soccer field there. You get the point, right? Like these are the like 3 to 5 little talking points that you're just going to have ready to go. That's going to be on one sheet, because eventually what you're going to have is the video with the hook title. What is going on in the meat and potatoes? Where are you going to shoot this? And do you have any props? Because simple is what's needed, because you're just going to pull this out when you go to create that actual video itself. So let's do another example here, because I want to get these creative wheels going. So let's look at a few other examples here. Ray says image finance community. Can you build on that for me, Ray? I'm not sure. Marcelino, how do I find the right community for it? Yeah, we talked that. Sometimes your first home search seems like a Marvel multiverse adventure. Okay, yeah. Home prices high and homes not being as nice and needing to be fixed up. Okay. Another good idea, maybe be able to buy investment properties even with home. Okay. Selling to a 55 and older. Okay. Okay, let's go to, if we're doing selling. So when you say, Marcelino, when you say selling to a 55 and older, do you mean helping them sell their house and then buying the next one? What are we talking about there? Moving to a 55 and older community. Okay, so they're selling their house and okay, got it. Okay, so let's see, did we cover that guy last week? I think we might have talked about this avatar here. Yeah, we called him Bob. We called him the retiring downsizer. And we went through some of his worries. So like he's worried about how far his finances are going to go. He's stressed about moving. He's stressed about the current condition of the market, stressed about if he's going to be overspending, the market pressure. So lots of really good stuff here in the example that you guys have here. So right away, I already have some hooks that are coming to mind, but bonus points if anybody has a hook for Bob. So when we think about how worried and how stressed does anybody have a hook that they've got that they want to share? While you guys are coming out with some hooks, I'm just going to answer Tom's question. You really didn't answer the question in the video. You then talk more about the area, or am I missing something? Well, you did talk about it. You know, growing families in Collingwood need to live here, right? And so the second shot is you inside and start in front of the Blue Mountain sign, where you're giving them a rundown of all the cool things about that area. So some of the ideas I had over like what the community events are, you know, what the shops are available, what the mom groups are like. So I'm giving them all the cool things about why this is a good family spot, because I attracted them in with that hook. Does that make sense, Tom? I'll let Tom come back with his answer here. All right, so let's look at some hooks for Bob. Bob's downsizing. He is moving into a 50 and over seniors community center. Here are some of the things of what he's looking for in terms of solutions. So looking for showcasing community centers, vendors, help with moving, market reports, local area trends. That's what we want. You answered the second. Tom, you can go ahead and pull yourself off of mute if you want to just voice it, because I'm having maybe we'll just have a quick discussion and I can help answer your question. Shouldn't be things to think about before downsizing. Okay, so things to think about before downsizing. That's good, Rakesh. That's good, but I think we can make it a little bit stronger. So you could easily turn that into a listicle. 3 things you had no idea about when thinking about downsizing. These 3 things will make your downsizing move the easiest one. This one thing my client did to help with his downsize saved him $20,000. That's where I want you to go. So it's these 3 things, this one thing, what your parents didn't tell you about retiring, that's where sometimes the title generator can come in really good. That parents one, that's where I've gotten it from. But that's where I want you to go with the hook. Okay, so let's go with these three things will, guys, my creativity is out the window today. I'm not going to lie. I think I spent it all yesterday. So if you guys have got some help here for me, throw it in there. Can I maintain my activity level? You stress about moving furniture, current conditions. Okay, this one checklist. This one checklist will make your downsize, move, an easy one. Okay, so this one checklist will make your downsize, move, an easy one. So if you've created a checklist for homeowners who are downsizing, moving into a 50 and over, this would be a great hook for using of that. And then the call to action would be comment down below for the guide. Right, so sometimes I like to go comment me down below for the guide. And then what I'm going to do is just so that you guys know, I would respond to that person in the comments and I would say, hey, I sent you a DM. And now I'm going to work that lead right in the DMs. That's how we get a lot of DMs of people coming through, is working them through there. Then you're going to come up with like where the shot's going to be. So this one you could do all in the office. This one you could do, maybe there's like a really beautiful 50 and over retirement center that you just want to have in the background. Like in Collingwood, we have a couple that are like right on the water and they're gorgeous and picturesque, and I can imagine very expensive. That could be a good shot for you to have in the background. So think about where it's going to go. Think about the prop. If you have the PDF made and you have an iPad, what would be really cool is when you're in the video shooting it, you have the iPad with the image of the PDF of what is in question, of what it is that you're talking about. This is a really easy way for you to do this. Doesn't require any special editing or anything for you to do in post, and just hold that up. And then from there, you want to talk about what the meat and potatoes are going to be once you open up with that hook. So what am I going to say? What are the 3 points that I'm going to talk about? And this really easy, right? You're just going to pull in some of the things of what you actually talked about in this checklist, about some of the things that they need to do. Maybe this checklist is specifically because you really want to go in on TikTok. Maybe it's for millennials who want to help their parents move. That is what the checklist is for. We've talked about that as an idea before, but that is where you come up with the 3 to 4-ish points or frameworks of what you're going to say about that video. So we've got the call to action. We've got that we want to have an iPad with a PDF, right? And anything else that we want there. Any questions on that? Okay. Can I get some feedback from you guys? Is this easy? Is this hard? Is this making it simpler for you? Is this making it harder for you? I want to know how well this is helping. Okay, it says 11111.
I think creative side is always a bit of a challenge, like these hooks are always a little bit of a, I'm sitting here thinking about, if I'm going to do a video for a downsize or like, but I part of it too is, it's your style, right? Like, everybody has their own style or everybody has their own personality. Like I'm already thinking about like, if I was going to do this, I know exactly what I would do. I'd probably do something like, why life sucks after retirement, something like that. Like, and then just like, like I'm thinking of like a TikTok video that might be a little bit more polarizing, right? So why life sucks after retirement? Well, you sell your home, then you get to do all these things like sail around the lake, or you get to go to golf. Like you have to spend the entire day at the golf club, and it's hot outside, and you're drinking. Like that's the kind of shit that I would do, right? But so everybody, I think, has their own personality, and the creativity is really a tough one. And I find TikTok's a little bit more creative than some of the other platforms as well, right? And so I think that, for anybody out there that's kind of thinking about this, like, wow, this is hard. Like the reality, I think the more you do this, the easier it starts to get, right?
That muscle
Because
grows.
exactly. And part of the reason why it starts to get a little bit easier is because you're doing this and you're creating this content and you're going out there and you're doing the research. Then you start looking at what other people are doing and you're starting to follow other agents and other, people that are fairly active on social media and TikTok and so on. So you're starting to get ideas of what they're doing. And so I think the number one thing here is, instead of looking, if you are looking at this like, wow, okay, this is a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's like, no, the what's holding you back is just not doing it, right? And really just starting to come up with a couple hooks, use the couple websites that Cara has suggested, and just get out there and start shooting video and start and one of the things I love about TikTok is your videos don't live on. It's not like YouTube, right? Where your videos could live on for 2 years. So you're really you want to create really good content, and people are expecting sort of that production value on YouTube. TikTok, there's no production value. It's like, look at Cara's videos. It's like there's the past couple of videos, there was like the one video you had the green screen in the back. It's like there's no production to that, right? And so you don't, and that's okay, right? And that's what makes TikTok and the reels and the short form video so easy to do. And because they don't live on like other platforms like YouTube, in 2-3 months from now, you get better and better, and your videos get more fun and more creative, right? So I think that if you are thinking like this is going to be a lot of work and it seems like it's overwhelming, what the worst thing you could do is not do it, right? And practice makes perfect. I mean, nobody, like, man, I know what I came across. So years ago, before, because you're part of the beta program, like our coaching programs, right? Way back. Years ago, about 7 years ago, I created a smaller coaching program, tried to sell for $49. And I came across some of my videos back then. And it's like, it is so, I wouldn't even let my wife watch them because they're so embarrassing. They're really, really bad, really bad. Even 2 years ago or a year ago,
Yeah.
it's you really need to practice. Like the more you do, the better you get.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And 12 videos isn't too much. So just to give you guys an overview for next week. So you're going to come up with your ideas. You're going to come up with your hooks, what the frameworks are. And then next week, we're going to coach you guys a little bit on how we're going to get some great video done. And then how you're going to use TikTok to create a lot of it. And then we'll teach you how to redistribute, create that content and put it out onto all different kinds of platforms and what we're going to do with it. So I promise you by the end of it, you will have a workflow in place that you can get this all done in a day. Like I said, it's going to be a pretty big day, but when Gary Vee comes in and starts, hammering through to everybody that they need to get out those 100 pieces of content a day, it's not going to be 100 a day, but we're definitely going to make sure that you guys are everywhere. It's going to be all scheduled. And like I said, everybody should be able to go on vacation in August and not have to worry about how you're showing up on social media. And we want to come into fall, which is like the last big push for 2022, where we're going to make up a lot. The rest of our numbers are really going to happen in that September, October, November time, which is when we want that social media singing. We want the funnel, the social media optimization fully built. Everything's rocking and rolling. You know exactly what you should be putting out during those last big production months. That's it. And that's what I got for you guys this week. Do we have any questions?
We got some homework for people for next week.
12 videos. I want you to come back with your 12
videos. Come back with your 12 videos.
No, just come back with all of, so your hook, right? So the 12 videos, you're going to write out that process, that template that I gave you. What is the hook? What is the meat and potatoes? What are we going to say in that video? What props do we want? Where is the location going to be? Is there any crazy video like ideas that are coming up that you want to make sure that you're using in that? Have that written out for 12 full videos. That way, that next week, you guys can actually get this video content done. Yeah, Jen, this is always being recorded. If you go back into the group and you use the hashtag DYIC Thursdays, you will be able to find the content. So we are good. Craig says, can you please drop the name of the place where last week's Google Doc and video from Kara stored? If so, would appreciate it. Please, thanks. So Craig, are you in the Facebook group? Because if you're in the Facebook group and you just search DYIC Thursdays, that is where we have hashtagged all of the previous recordings. So weeks 1 to 5 are already up in the group there for you. Danica, quick question. I got the gimbal like yours recently. Woo, woo. Can you please recommend a light that can fit or go with it? Oh, like a little ring light. I don't have you. Why do you want to use a light that goes on it? I don't know. You could be careful, because by the time you put your mic on here and then put a ring light, the gimbal might not, I don't know.
It's going to be too heavy. It may be too heavy for the gimbal.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
So I'll see if I've got,
So,
right? Like
so the better,
light.
yeah. You know what I do? Here, hold on. So I typically, so here, buy one of the, like, if you really want to put, so I put like I put a light on mine, and then also, so all the gimbals, I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this?
Yep.
Right. So the gimbal, like where's my gimbal? All this stuff. So all the gimbals, they have an attachment, like you can attach to a tripod, right? So you've got that, whatever, I don't know, like I'm not a photographer, so I don't know, but this basically goes here, right?
Yeah.
So I can attach this to the bottom of the gimbal. And I think it's like a $10 attachment. Like it's not. And then, so now that's attached to the gimbal, right? And so you can put your light, like you can attach stuff to like your light or anything to this part here. And then there's no weight added to the gimbal itself.
That's cool. Do you have a link for that, Shane?
No, but no, I just go look for it. No, I can find a link.
Post it in the group.
Yeah, I'll post it in the group or something.
Okay.
It's just, I don't even know what this thing is called. I'll go look through my previous orders.
Okay. Yeah.
It's super handy because you can attach like your mics to this. You can attach your lights to this. There's a lot that you can do with this. So it's pretty handy.
Great questions today, guys. All right. Well, next week, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The recording, they go up in a few days, right, Shane?
Recordings go up Mondays.
So it'll be up on Monday for you so that you can go ahead and rewatch it. So you guys know your homework for this week is to get those 12 video frameworks done. So I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Cara, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Have an amazing rest of your week, everyone, and enjoy your weekend. We will see you next Thursday.
See you guys.
Take care.